Hey folks, back with another video. Let's dive into what stories got my attention today. Starting with the Caucus region, the Russian President Vladimir Putin estimated on Thursday that almost 5,000 people may have been killed in the fighting between Azerbaijan and Armenia over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region. Now, as of Thursday, the Armenia's officially report on the casualties has been 874 soldiers, along with more than 30 civilians, while the Azerbaijan side has only reported 63 civilians, but as usual have not provided any figures for their military. Putin said that he is counting on the influence of the United States for the peaceful solution to the conflict. Now, foreign ministers from Armenia and Azerbaijan were due in Washington for talks on Friday, as we speak. Now, I wish the US all the success with any kind of peace deal that they can get the two countries to agree to. Moving on, Libya's warring faction have signed a permanent ceasefire agreement on Friday. Now, the acting United Nations envoy, Stephanie Williams, said that the ceasefire would start immediately. And all foreign fighters were told to quit Libya within 3 months. Now, so far, the current forces would withdraw from front lines, and a new joint police force would secure those areas. The Friday's agreement was reached after the internationally recognized Government of National Accord in June beat back Khalifa Haftar's eastern-based Libyan National Army from its 14-month assault on the capital. Now, since then, front lines have stabilized near the central coast city of Sirte, and the LNA ended its 8-month blockade of Libyan oil output that was strangling state finances on both sides. Turkey, the main backer of the GNA, along with LNA's main foreign backers Russia, the United Arab Emirates, and Egypt, have funneled weapons and fighters into Libya despite a UN arms embargo, which they all publicly backed. Now, key details on the implementing of the ceasefire, including monitoring the departure of foreign fighters and merging armed groups, has been left to the subcommittees in future talks. Now, both sides have deployed thousands of foreign fighters in Libya, including Syrians, Sudanese, Chadians, and European mercenaries brought in by Russia's Wagner Group. Now, since June, they have also entrenched along the Sirte front lines with new weapons and defensive positions. Meanwhile, political talks scheduled in Tunisia early next month, with an eventual view towards holding national elections, would need to reach agreement on historically elusive issues and overcome widespread mistrust. Now, there was caution inside Libya, as the largest contributor to the tensions are all the foreign countries playing politics. Now, I wish the treaty all the success, but I would not hold my breath on its immediate success. There is a lot of. We'll find out as time goes on. Moving on, as British government opens a path to citizenship for the Hong Kong resident, it seems that Beijing is considering not to recognize the British National Overseas Passport as legitimate travel documents in retaliation against the British government. Zhao Lijin, a spokesperson for China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, said on Friday that the UK government had broken its promises and repeatedly raised the BNO issue to interfere in the internal affairs of Hong Kong and China. Zhao said that Beijing would reserve its right to take further actions and retaliate against the UK move. Now, the comments came after the UK government on Thursday gave more details about the visa scheme, which will let the BNO passport holders and their dependents study and work in the UK for 5 years and gain citizenship in the sixth year. Now, the government said that it was changing the entitlements attached to the BNO status in a response to the breach of the Sino-British Joint Declaration by the Chinese government in restricting the rights and freedoms of Hong Kong people and eroding the high degree of autonomy of the Special Administrative Region. Now, according to a survey based on 650 adults cited in the news source, a fifth of the Hong Kongers would emigrate. Now, of those who wanted to emigrate, 45% said that they would take action within 2 years, while 33% said that they would take it 2 years later, while the remaining 23% did not have a timetable. Now, about 29% of those planning to move would choose UK, while 44% would choose other countries. The remaining 27% had not yet decided. Now, I welcome the British government's decision to open up its path to those residents of Hong Kong. As it is clear, it seems that the Chinese, specifically the Beijing's and the Communist Party of the Chinese Communist Party, is adamant on being more, let's just say, more harsh, more, an authoritarian and oppressive regime, as we have seen in recent months. And this is no secret. China has uh, been, let's just say, the Communist Party has in the past has done far worse, and so we must do anything and everything we can to make sure that Beijing understands that the international community will take action and not let them kill innocent people left, center, or right. Moving on, it seems that the Japan and the United Kingdom have signed a post-Brexit bilateral free trade agreement, paving the way for its implementation on the 1st January in 2021 to ensure continuity in trade and investment beyond the end of London's transition period out of the European Union. Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi and British International Trade Secretary Liz Truss hailed the quote-unquote landmark agreement as promoting free trade and strengthening bilateral ties after inking the deal in Tokyo, with London seeing it as a step to join the Trans-Pacific Partnership grouping of 11 Pacific nations. Now, the Japan-UK Pact, which largely replicates the existing Japan-EU free trade accord, will enter into force after domestic ratification procedures. Now, the two countries negotiated the deal, and the Japan-EU Pact will not cover the UK after the completion of the Brexit transition period in December. Now, the deal with Japan is the UK's first trade pact with a major economy following its exit from the European Union in January 2021, as it has yet to wrap up trade with the bloc, United States, Australia, or New Zealand. Now, the new deal removes tariffs on Japanese cars in stages to zero in 2026, which matches the existing Japan-EU agreement, while London will immediately scrap tariffs on railway cars and auto parts. Japanese tariffs on British farm products are kept at the same level as under the agreement with the EU Union. All these small and specific details aside, I hope in the future the two countries could reduce all tariffs on all of these different products and any excessive laws that might be in that sort of agreement, because I would like that both Japan and Britain, UK, to do as much trade with as little in the way of the trade so we can further uh, accelerate the economic growth between the two countries and hopefully in the broader region as a result. Moving on, it seems that there might be some more good news on the Israelis making deals with Arabs. Now, a senior defense official on Thursday predicted that Saudi Arabia would soon come to normalize ties with Israel. Now, the comments were made by the official who spoke to reporters as the defense minister Benny Gantz visited America, came amid reports that Sudan was poised to follow the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain in normalizing diplomatic relations with the Jewish state. Quote, soon Sudan and latest Saudi Arabia will come out of the closet, end quote. The official was quoted saying by Hebrew media without further elaborating. Now, the Saudi leaders have publicly ruled out forging ties with Israel before a Palestinian state is created, even as they have welcomed the normalization deals between the Jewish state and the Gulf Arab states signed in Washington last month, giving in mixed signals by the Saudis. Now, last week, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo encouraged Saudi Arabia to recognize Israel. Another thing that one must note is the fact that there have been covert ties between Israel and Saudi Arabia, and they have been growing stronger in the recent years. Now, the shift in policy has reportedly been led by the Crown Prince, who sees Israel as a strategic partner in the fight against Iranian influence in the region. Now, some Saudi officials have also stepped up criticism of the Palestinians, which indicates that the Saudi Arabia's government is pivoting towards a normalization with Israel, but it is making a sort of like it's clearing its path. Now, I would say that if Israel can get a deal with Saudi Arabia, that would be a game changer. It would be a major victory for Israel, and if the US isn't involved in any way, even for the US. I would think that this alone would massively shift the attitudes of the Arabs in the Middle East, and this would be a major leap for peace in the Middle East. And I just have my fingers crossed on this one. Hopefully, we can soon hear that Saudi Arabia makes a deal with Israel. And hopefully, as a result, maybe we could finally get the Israelis and Iranians to also come to a deal. Well, enough of a wishful thinking for today. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked this video, then hit that like button and hit that subscribe button for future updates. Write in the comments below your thoughts, criticism, and anything I might have missed. And I will see you in the next video.